Here in Module 4, we're continuing to look at Form W7. In Module 2, when we were completing Form W7, we asked the client about the date she entered the U.S. I told you then that this date is really important and that we would talk about it later on. Well, here we are later on. In order to be eligible to file a Form 1040, the primary taxpayer must be a resident alien for tax purposes. Don't be confused by the term resident alien. We're not talking about immigration status here. A lot of us think that a resident alien is someone who has a green card, or in other words, the person is a legal permanent resident. But a resident alien for tax purposes has a different definition than a legal permanent resident. This difference contributes to some confusion over the appropriate reason code that we check on Form W7. Remember I said that in the tax centers we only use reason codes C, D, and E, and that you will never use reason code B? A non-resident alien filing a U.S. tax return must file a Form 1040-NR for non-resident, and these types of returns are out of scope for us. That's why it's important to understand the definition of a resident alien to ensure we are able to prepare the tax return and that the client is eligible for our services. A resident alien for tax purposes is determined by what's called the substantial presence test. This test says that a person is a U.S. resident for tax purposes if they are physically present in the U.S. for at least 31 days during the tax year and 183 days during the 3-year period consisting of the tax year and the 2 years immediately before the tax year, counting all the days present in 2014, 1/3 of the days present in 2013, and 1/6 of the days present in 2012. What? Well, so it's probably better explained by an example that is here, that you see here on your monitor. So let's say that your client tells you she entered the U.S. on August 1st of 2013, and she's lived here ever since. So as you see here, January 1 through December 31 of 2014 is 365 days. You can tell already just by looking at that she meets the substantial presence test because she was here in 2014, 31 days plus a total of 365 days. So she clearly, surpassed the 183-day requirement. In addition, counting the days from August 1st through December 31st of 2013, that's 153 days. 1/3 of that time is 51 days. So hands down, your client who comes in on August 1st of 2013 meets the substantial presence test and is a resident alien for tax purposes. But so what if she tells you that she entered August 1st of 2014? That time period is 153 days, just like we counted in the previous example. But she fails the substantial presence test because she wouldn't hear the 183 days. So that means that she's going to be required to file a Form 1040-NR. And those are out of scope for what VITA is able to do. One thing that is probably a good idea to do is when you're conducting your initial interview with the client before you ever even start the return, is just to have a general conversation with her about, oh, I see that you're filing taxes for the first time ever because you're applying for an ITIN. How long have you been here? Or how long have you been working here? Some questions along those lines, just so that you can get a general idea to make sure that she has had a presence in this country for a sufficient amount of time before you actually start the return. In the next module, we're going to talk about some tax center processes in preparing these returns and some of the requirements. Hopefully, this will tie everything together for you and it will all make perfect sense.